This episode of Fresh and Buds is brought to you by Bait for Scene. Come on down to Bait for Scene for all of your bait and tackle needs in the region of Wraith. Fresh and Buds now.
Fresh and
All right, folks, welcome back to yet another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh, and you are all of my buds, and today we are joined once again by one of my favorite buds in the world. It is Elaine Hamontree. How you doing? What's going on? What's new with you, my friend?
Hi, Tommy. I am happy to be here. I am doing good. Not much new with me. Since we last sat down and did this, I've moved, I guess. I live in New York now, going to school, working, playing Flesh and Blood. I think that's about it. That's all that's really going on in my life right now, but it's good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. You know, the people don't need to know how I am. You know, listen, it's all about you guys. No, I'm good. Actually, it is a shame, and that's awesome that you are in the city now. And I don't know why we haven't hung out yet. Because I'm ready. Well, you know, I don't like to go into the city. It scares me. No, I like the city. It's just, I just love New Jersey, and I think everybody should just come here instead. It's so cool, you know. It's just cool in New Jersey. But Jersey's good. Everything's good. Very busy planning a wedding. That is getting very ramped up. That's a nice personal thing for the people that probably already know that out there. But you know, getting married's cool. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll play some Flesh and Blood. Still going to Tampa, which is going to be exciting. Rosetta is pretty exciting to me. I actually think this is going to be a pretty banging set, so we'll see. That's what's going on with me, Elaine. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm jealous that you're going to Tampa. I really want to go to Tampa, but I'm going to Gen Con, leaving in like a few hours, I guess, kind of. And then I booked Osaka. And so if I come back from Gen Con broke, Tampa's probably not going to happen. But we'll see. I would love to go. I'm having FOMO already, and it's not even happened.
Well, is there a chance? And I've never been to Gen Con, and to be honest, I don't know what it is, and at this point, I'm afraid to ask. I know that some game stuff happens there. Actually, more of a board game convention, I'm guessing. But is there a potential where you don't come back broke, and maybe somehow it's like going to Vegas or like Atlantic City or something like that, and you just won a lot of money, or that's not how that works?
Well, I guess there's always the potential to come back not broke. I would say that it's like a smaller chance that I come back not broke. But we'll see. We'll see how much money I spend. I'm mainly just going for the vibes. It's like I think it's the largest gaming convention in like North America or something. So, but it's not just board games. It's like card games. You can demo. I've never been, so everything that I'm saying, take it with a grain of salt. I've just always wanted to go. I don't know, like, I just don't know how much stuff I'm gonna, like, want to buy, you know, or how much stuff maybe I'm not really planning on selling anything, but I hear that sometimes you can just pick up, like, a bunch of promos and end up leaving positive if you sell those. I'm just not really, like, the hustle type. Like, I don't really live by the hustle. I just live by vibes.
I think that's a better way to be. I mean, I've been to plenty of conventions, and they always, like, I feel like these conventions always have like, oh, here's like a scavenger hunt where you can go to all these different booths and like collect something, and then maybe at the end you get like a special gift or something. And I was like, oh, I'm this is my vacation. Like, I'm not trying to work, you know. But I am jealous that you're gonna get to probably, if you get a chance to play the First Strike decks, which I know that is the big talk of the Flesh and Blood town, that the First Strike decks are going to be available there, and I'm assuming you can buy them there as well. Made it seem like you can get them there specifically.
Yeah, it seemed like it's early, like you can purchase them. I think early purchase, but I'm not sure if they're just there for you to try and to play, or if you can purchase them. It kind of seemed like you could purchase them. If you can, I'm definitely going to pick up First Strike decks. Also, the Blaze promo.
Oh.
We get to pick up Blaze, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, people keep telling me they're like, "Oh, you should go get this promo from this game and this game, and then if you flip them, it pays for your trip." And I'm like, "But I'm not. Yeah, like I'm just not there to like be flipping stuff. Like,
Yeah, that's a little. You know what? It's one of those things. It's like a nice bonus, maybe, if like you get back and you're like, well, what am I going to do with all this stuff I picked up? And you're like, oh, let's see what happens online, and then you pay for Tampa or something like that, which would be kind of cool to see you there. But you know, Osaka's pretty cool too, so understandable to him. And that I've heard is a very expensive trip, and so I understand maybe. Being responsible and not going to Tampa and getting the full experience in Osaka. So you're totally within, it just makes more sense. But the selfish person that I am and a lot of other people that love you would love you to come to Tampa. So we'll see if that happens. Now, let's get to some serious business, Elaine. Enough of these niceties. First of all, how dare you? Now, no, I do want to ask, in terms of, a lot of your content creation and stuff you've been doing. Obviously, you've been very busy with the new digs in New York City, but we're right now in the midst of season 2 of the Rainbow Pitch, which obviously was such a super awesome success last time around, which was just so happy to see that. A lot of great people had a lot of fun, and it's really cool to see it kind of blossoming into something that we get to look forward to in the community. How's it going this time?
Yeah, it's going well. Season 2 has been great. It's like one of those things that it's just kind of crazy that we're halfway through season 2 now. You can check out the games on YouTube. We've been producing one every week, even if sometimes they're a little behind. Like, I think we just posted week 3 today, but we do have up to week 5 done and ready to go. So those should be coming out within the week because I'm trying to catch up. But I'm also, going to Gen Con and working and in school and life is life. But season 2 overall has been really fun. It's so cool to see all these, like, so many players. We have a ton of countries represented. We had over 100 players this time. Last year we had 64 players. This year we have over 100 players. So I just can't. It's so weird to like watch something that you created just like grow in front of your eyes, bigger than you ever thought it could be. We have a ton of great sponsors again, and we learned a lot from last year. And I tried to improve it this year, just in things like the way we did prizes and stuff. So hopefully the players are feeling those changes, those improvements. But from what I can tell, it's going great. It's soaring so fast I can barely keep up with it.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, obviously, I'm not like directly involved, but I pay attention to it. I see the posts and I see what people say about it. And to be honest, I'm not seeing anything negative ever being said about this. Only positive things. And let's be honest, if anybody's saying something negative, it's probably somewhere in a dark dungeon somewhere where nobody could see it anyway. So who cares? And it's just such an amazing thing, and I'm happy to see it grow and hopefully continue to grow. I mean, you know, like 1,000 players at one point. I mean, that seems crazy. Seems like crazy for anybody to have to deal with that. But you're going to have a whole staff, and it's going to be very cool. I've seen the future, and it's very bright for the Rainbow Pitch. I can't wait for season 3. Well, actually, we got to finish season 2 first. But then we'll get to season 3.
Yeah. Let me get through season 2, please.
Actually, let's start talking about season 10 right now. And
okay. What
are your plans? Now, in terms of plans, you are well known for your wonderful cosplaying. Any big cosplaying things coming up soon? Now, we talked a little bit before we started recording. You're headed to Gen Con. You plan on doing a little bit of cosplaying there. But anything beyond that, and what are you doing in Gen Con, first of all? And Osaka, is there a plan there?
Yeah, so at Gen Con, I'm not doing any Flesh and Blood cosplays. Like, I have other cosplays that aren't Flesh and Blood cosplays that I don't really wear ever. So I get the opportunity to wear them at Gen Con. They're much less intense, and ones that I've just kind of like bought and have added some of my own things to. But one of them is Rosalina from Mario, and then the other one is Sailor Moon. So those are the two I'm bringing to Gen Con. As far as Osaka goes, I don't even know. I do plan on doing something for Osaka. I have one in mind, potentially two in mind. The problem is that when I moved to New York, I had to downsize so much, and much of my personal belongings are in a storage unit somewhere, not in New York. And so when I had to cut down things to take back to school with me, my equipment, most of my equipment for making cosplays did not make the cut. So now planning ahead for Osaka, it's kind of like a balance between what do I think I can make with the limited equipment and material that I have in New York with me, and like what am I willing to rebuy and own two of? Because there's a lot, like people, I don't know that everyone realizes just how much equipment goes into cosplaying. Like you have like drills, and sometimes you sand down the stuff that you're making. Like you need heat guns to do foam armor, sewing machines, like you gotta the contact cement. Like there's a lot of like just kind of equipment that you buy one time and you use that to make your cosplays, and much of that I don't have with me in New York. So right now the challenge is picking out cosplays that I think I can do really well with the limited equipment and material that I have here, and trying to get some done. So there's one that I am planning on doing for Osaka, and another one that I'm trying to figure out if I think I can pull it off for Osaka with what I have. So we'll see.
I mean, yeah, you have some time, and we have a whole set to be released before then as well, which could give you some inspiration. But whatever it may be, we're all excited to see it, certainly, whether it is in person or on the interwebs, which would be really cool. Now, speaking of cosplays, plays over here, Prismatic Leyline. I mean, so, for those who don't know, that was your guys' spoiler for MST, and you knocked it out of the park with the cosplay. Did you? Now I gotta know, right? It definitely felt like made for you, right? Which is which was awesome. Was that as soon as you saw it, it was like, oh well, this is a no brainer. Let me just, this is me. I'm in this card. I'm going to become this card.
No, so actually, when we got the card, I was just kind of like really busy, and I was going out of town. I think I was going out of town, and so I had like messaged Melody, and I was like, "What are we doing for the reveal? Because we need to, if I have to edit something or make something for it, like we need to do it today because I'm gonna be out of town." Like for the, I don't remember where I was going, but I was going somewhere. I was going out of town, and so I was like, the next like 5 days I'm gonna be gone, and the reveal's happening at the end of that, so I can't do work for it. So we need to do something for it now. And Melody was like, "Oh, I'm not sure. Do you have any ideas?" And I was like, "I kind of want to cosplay. Like, I think this is a beautiful card. I was like, I kind of want to cosplay." And so I told her, she was like, "You just said you're going out of town tomorrow." I was like, let me see if I can pull something off. So that cosplay I made from stuff I just had around my house. And about 3 hours after I texted Melody that I was gonna try and cosplay it, I sent her the final picture of the reveal, and she was like, "What? How did?" She's like, "What? How did you pull that together?" And I was like, "I don't know, actually." It's so that cosplay is not one that I really like have. Like I couldn't wear it at events. It was made to look good in photos because it is like a shirt that I own, a bed sheet, a tablecloth, and and then the armor I crafted out of what was it? it was tinfoil and something, and it was tinfoil and paint, and like some stuff that I used, like some I used on my hands like socks for like the structure just to make it stay on for the shape, and then like covered that in tinfoil and paint. And then the hat was headbands that I like stacked together and built up and tinfoiled like down together. It was just a cosplay I threw together in a few hours.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and it's pretty incredible. Like was a speed run of a cosplay, and it actually does make me think. Well, what if that's like a new, like there's different events for swimming. Well, I guess for Flesh and Blood too, Blitz and CC. I don't know what I'm talking about. But what if we added to the cosplay competitions speed cosplaying? That would be kind of fun. Obviously, we're looking at a front runner right now of someone who could do that, which is kind of fun. It looks great. I don't think anybody could tell that it was a mad dash, which is so cool. And it really was like such a cool card. Now I understand why, quick turnaround on this cosplay. You weren't able to get the woodland creatures.
Yeah. My cats are living with me now, but at the time I didn't have them with me. So,
listen,
that's a missed opportunity.
We're going to forgive you for this one. Just don't let it happen again. But no, really awesome. I mean, always looking forward to it. And I do want to see what Osaka brings us from Elaine Hamontree in the cosplaying department. Now, there's no pressure, right? That's a long trip to also bring a cosplay. So, maybe you got to do a little 3-hour boom. What's in my hotel room in Japan?
What's in my hotel room? Let me throw something together.
Oh, what can I do with this little soap? Now that would be pretty impressive, but I'm sure you're going to bring something awesome. But let's talk more Flesh and Blood. Elaine, fresh faves. It's been a while since we had you on. I want to get your fresh faves of Part the Mistveil, because it's still on everybody's mind. Rosetta is creeping into everybody's mind as well. But we just left Pro Tour Amsterdam this past weekend. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was a big presentation, a premiere event that featured a lot of Part the Mistveil. So it's fresh on our minds. So since it's fresh on our minds, we're going to get some fresh faves from you. Elaine, who was your favorite hero from Part the Mistveil?
This is actually really hard. This is really hard. I think I have to say. I think I feel like I have to say Zen. I think, which is like funny because when Mistveil was revealed, like aesthetic wise, Enigma is my favorite. Just like cosplay, like aesthetic wise, I loved that card. When I started, like at pre-releases, I played New, all the pre-releases, and I really enjoyed New, and I thought I would be a New gamer. And then ever since then, though, like I've been on Zen, and not even in CC, because I play Kasai in CC and I'll never leave her. But like now, every time I've played Part the Mistveil Limited, anytime my armory does draft, I just have so much fun playing Zen. And I didn't think that I would until I tried someone else's deck, and I really enjoyed it. So I think I have to say Zen, just because he's become my guy.
Well, you're going to be let off the hook big time here, because Zen truly is a lot of fun in Limited. And sure, if you like doing crazy stuff in CC and Blitz, Zen is also fun there, right? But like in Limited, it's a very awesome Limited format, very balanced, and Zen is, I think, one of the cooler decks that you can draft. So totally understandable. Now, what was your favorite weapon from the set?
I do think I have to say my favorite weapon is Beckoning Mistblade, because I kind of appreciate that it has the on hit, right? I like that it has an on hit. It just comes in for one, but it's got the on hit, and it makes most of the time like people don't care about it, that on hit, but sometimes if you disrespect it, you can really be punished for that. So I like that. Even though like Zen's weapon, I'm probably gonna say it wrong because I say like Kakara. Okay, all right. Okay.
I think it's close.
Like I like that when you swing with that, it's just kind of automatic. That feels good as a Zen gamer. However, from like playing the game and it being fun, I like presenting on hits.
Absolutely. And it can present like so much more damage. Like that's what you're saying. Like, what if it's not just another extra 1. It could be an extra like 5 or something like that, which is fun.
Right, because of the go again. Yeah, that's good.
All those daggers are so scary, to be honest. I've been, I took the assassin pill this weekend. I built an Arachne deck on February. I was testing around with it.
I think that's the wrong assassin.
I know. Well, listen.
I think that's the wrong one.
Listen, if anybody, and anybody that listens to this knows that I'm gonna pick the worst option almost always.
That's true.
I'm down bad. I'm playing yellow Fate for Scenes in that deck. And listen, I think it's spicy. I think it's very spicy.
Gosh.
And I'm not backing down. Now, speaking of spice, what was your favorite equipment from Part the Mistvale?
Oh, favorite equipment. I think I have to go with I think Mask of Recurring Nightmare is my favorite. Traverse is like the most beautiful. It's really great. It's also really amazing equipment that came out of this. But Mask of Recurring Nightmare, every time that gets played against me, I'm so annoyed. Like it's just really good. It's what a funny little hat that puts in so much work. If you can keep pitching into that. The disruption is so annoying. It drives me crazy, and it can really mess up like my turns. I don't enjoy it, but because of that, I really like it. And it feels like I like as the opponent, I have to play around it a little bit more. I really like I like stuff that makes me think a little bit more about my hands and my blocks and my turns. And what my opponent might be doing or thinking. So for that reason, Mask of Recurring Nightmares. Also, the art on it is gorgeous. I love that art.
It is very cool. And, you mentioned Traverse. In comparison to Traverse, very fair card because it's not always good. Traverse, listen, if that just went and fetched a cracked bauble, I think that card would be insane. Right? Like,
yeah.
Like that's how good Traverse is. So, yeah, I don't know about that old Traverse. It does look beautiful, though. A lot of, what's the Cosmic Awakening is the one that kind of looks like that same art style. Probably the same artist. So
yeah,
beautiful.
Both are beautiful, yeah.
Now, what was your favorite, any of the other cards in the set? Now,
I think
Prismatic
Attune with...
is a you can answer that, but we're gonna take that one out because it is an obvious choice. We want to know what the real one is, though.
I do really like that card. Actually, I think it's fun, and it kind of makes me wish I could play it in Briar. But I would say Attune with Cosmic Vibrations. I think is my favorite. Right before Blue E-Strike, right? Levels of Enlightenment. But Tune with Cosmic Vibrations. I really like that one. I just think it's fun. I think it's interesting. That, reveal the top. This either gains defense or gains attack.
I'm trying to remember what Attune.
It's when this attacks a hero or defends with a hero, reveal the top card of your deck. If it reveals a blue, it gains 3 attack and 3 block. So it's a 0 cost 2 for 2.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people play it, but it is still...
It's fun, though. It's a fun design. I like it.
No, that one...
But yeah, no... I played it. I drafted it one time, and I hit off the top, and I was like... Favorite card. This is fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we like fun. And it's like almost like a throwback to heavy hitters. Like I'm kind of clashing just with myself. So
just with myself.
Now this is a new question we've added to the lineup especially since you've been here last. If you were a Flesh and Blood hero, which class and which talent would you have?
From
Any set.
from this set or from any set?
The
Any
World
set.
of
Okay.
Wraith.
Ooh. Okay, well, I definitely would be a warrior for sure because I identify heavy with the warrior class. I don't really know how it would work, but I would like to be a shadow warrior.
I think that would be sweet. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many cool things you could do. Like, well, first of all, do we have any shadow attack reactions? We have shadow defense reactions. I don't know about attack reactions.
Yeah, I don't think we have attack reactions.
So that would be cool to see what the design there would be. Like, oh, maybe an attack reaction from Banish and like then it's like face up, so your opponent knows you have it, and they're like, well, are they gonna waste it now, or are they gonna waste it later? And then you can kind of play some cool mind games, which would be cool. So I like it. Shadow Warrior. I'm sure we're gonna get Shadow Warrior at some point too.
We'll see. We'll see.
Now let's talk about the old meat and potatoes here. Amsterdam was this weekend, and what a weekend it was. For anybody who didn't watch, it was a lot of fun. We did see, is it Shoma?
Shoma.
I forget the last name. I'm sorry, but one with Azuri, which was one of two Azuris in the whole tournament, which was incredible. Now, it was a really fun weekend to watch for many reasons because we also had the keynote speech, which we'll get to second here. But I want to talk about the coverage. Did you manage to catch much of the coverage? I saw you tweeting about it a little bit.
Yeah, I watched like every time that I woke up, I would just like put it on. I have a very long commute to work. Like my commute to work is over an hour. And so it's the perfect time. Like usually I just like kind of watch anime on my commute to work or read or something. But when coverage is on, I'm just watching coverage, especially when it's like, well, I get to wake up, put on coverage, and then for the next 2 hours I'm watching. And then I like listen to it after that. I haven't had the chance to go back and catch any of the coverage that happened while I was sleeping though. So, I woke up like once we were like a round or two in. And then, yeah.
It's, these European Pro Tours, why don't you guys have the same time as us now? It's not fair. No, I was the same way because, I'm waking up around 9 or something like that, like on the weekends. And I'm like, all right, let me pop it on and watch it. And a couple of things stood out to me. First of all was, well, other than this is something that obviously was out of control and definitely was accounted for after the first day, was the brutal sun coming through, I guess, the skylights in the venue, which is whatever. It's probably a beautiful venue and a lot of great natural light. And then unfortunately, it was all in Brian Gottlieb's face every time it cut to him. Which and everybody in chat was like, from what I saw, was really, really jovial about it. It's like the light of Solana, blah blah blah. Which is cool. But other than that, I think the coverage team was excellent, from Ponkage to Mr. Classic to obviously Brian to Erica, one of my favorite people. Am I missing someone? I got to be missing someone. Ponkage,
you had Ethnic Smoke, Brian, Mr. Classic, Romaine, and Erica.
Romaine. Yes. Yeah. So just like, first of all, representing like a whole bunch of different countries, the APAC from Mr. Classic, and then, you had Erica from Europe, and then, both Ponkage, Brian from the States. It was just awesome. And clearly Ethan did a great job on the production side as well, and I think it's important to call that out because it's a tough task to kind of put on these productions. And I don't know. It was fun. What did you think?
I thought it was amazing, and I'm glad you gave Ethan a shout out because we were talking, of course, before we started recording, and like editing is just the bane of my existence. I hate it so much. I do it, once a week, and I have for 2 years, but I hate it. I feel like I've never gotten better at it. I feel like it's never gotten easier or more enjoyable. So I don't know how Ethan puts these things on so effortlessly and for most of the time flawlessly, and just like, wow, massive props every single event to Ethan for just managing that. I don't know how he does it. But the coverage team, I was really excited when it was announced. I thought they did a great job. I knew that they would. I was just very excited. I'm big fans of everyone who's on the team. I look forward to them every time they're in the booth. So, and yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, Ponkage is really kind of rose to like this occasion of being such an amazing caster. I mean, we saw how excellent he was in LA. I believe he was casting as well. And then, and various other battle hardens and stuff like that as well. And just so insightful, fun to listen to, super smart. Erica is just awesome. I love her. She is just such a great presence in the booth as well, and she did some great interviews to kind of go along with that. And then Brian, Brian's an old pro, right? He's just really good, and he obviously is very closely tied to the game, as well as Mr. Classic, which is like pretty cool to see as well. Just kind of get that like really in depth kind of background. And then Romain, who it's one of those, because a lot of their content is I believe not in English, so it's just like kind of a blessing that we get to experience Romain like whenever we go over to Europe for these big events like Lille and then Amsterdam, and now we'll talk about a little bit another Pro Tour next year. What were some of your favorite moments from what you caught over the weekend?
Oh, that's hard to pick out like a few specific ones. I have to say, just overall, like I was really excited to see interesting games, especially on day one. Like we saw Bolton, we saw Lavia. There was I'm trying to remember like the other matchups, but the games that they showed on day one were just I found them really interesting. Like these matchups were fun, and it wasn't just like Zen mirrors, which we could talk about the meta too, but there was so much speculation and complaining about Zen just being this incredibly dominant deck that was going to be overrepresented. Not to say that he wasn't very well represented in the Pro Tour. He definitely was as the most represented deck. I think he had 90 players on him. So I was just excited to see these games that had these fun matchups, other heroes. And there was one, I love how Ethan does the backup games. I like the speed, like 2 times speed, right? That's always like so fun to see and watch. And there was that one that was a Zen versus Lavia, I believe, on day 2, and the Zen drew all 3 Art of War and only played 2 of them and ended up arsenaling the 3rd, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, like he should have played the 3rd, which watching that match, I do think he should have played the 3rd. He probably thought that too when the Lavia took all this damage and then came back with their own Art of War Blood Rush Bellow turn. And I was Kiki and I were talking our way through the coverage as we do, and that game we were like, oh my gosh, like how are they going to recover? And then it was like, oh my gosh, they also just had an insane turn. And then so it was like double Art of War turn, Art of War Blood Rush Bellow turn, and then that Zen still had the Art of War in Arsenal. So like another Art of War turn. It was it was an insane game, and it was at 2 times speed, and I was like, I can't even like, whoa, so much cool stuff is happening in 2 times speed so fast. I loved that. I loved watching that game. Yeah, that was probably my favorite moment.
Yeah,
that game.
There was a lot of, and this is kind of the nature of the beast, right? With Zen, right? You could either try to disrupt Zen or race Zen, and we saw a lot of that with like decks like Leviathan and KO and well, just other Zens fighting against each other. It was just like haymaker, and just like, look at how much damage I can do on this turn. No, me now. So like that was kind of cool. And then also to kind of see just like Assassin represented in a tournament, like for me to see the representation of Assassin in a tournament and what it can do was actually really, really cool because, and I'm sure Brian really loved that as well, right? Like, you know, Assassin's his baby. And, you know, we get to see the true power of it through New and then ultimately Uzuri. Now, the meta did shape up to be what a lot of people expected, right? Like a lot of Zen, a lot of New, and then, you know, a smattering of other heroes that were trying to either counter or do something different, you know, like Kano trying to attack from, you know, the Kano angle or whatever. But I do think the Assassins, at least in the Pro Tour, did really have the last laugh. And I say that because, well, we saw in the top 8, one side of the bracket was like aggro and like Zen, and then the other side of the bracket was just a bunch of assassins. And Shoma on Uzuri really showed the power of Uzuri against the other assassins, and then gets to the finals. And did you manage to catch that game against Bartos? Because that was something special.
Yes, I did watch the finals. That was something special. And so Uzuri, there was only 2 Uzuris in the Pro Tour in the meta breakdown, right? 2 Uzuris, and of course Shoma took down the Pro Tour on Uzuri, but then the other Uzuri was Tao, who I believe finished 35th. So, I mean, just like what a turnover for Uzuris to have 2 and then one take down the whole thing and the other one kind of bubble right out of 32nd place. I believe it was 35th. So that was just really cool. I was really happy to see that as well. And the finals, that final game, that was crazy. I think when that game ended, Shoma was still at 20 life.
Something crazy, yeah.
He was just in the driver's seat the whole time. It was just so impressive. I was like, jeez.
If you watched that finals, right, like in a vacuum, you would have thought that it was Uzuri's meta, right? You would have thought it was like, this obviously is the most dominant deck. Even in the match before the semis, I believe the New versus Uzuri, Shoma was playing against, I believe, the Canadian Gabe Scher, and he, what was it, Justin Nick? Double Justin Nick to win or something like that. You're like, this is crazy. What's going on here? And I don't know. It was super impressive. But I guess the real question is, and there's not a lot of CC left. There's a couple CC tournaments in August before Rosetta comes out. But the question is, does the CC format open up after people see basically Assassin be a real disruptive answer to Zen, or is it just still Zen versus like New and Uzuri now?
I don't know how much it opens up, and I will say, so for one, I think that Zen is still the most dominant deck in the format, I believe. And without Ice, I don't think anyone really thought that decks would have the amount of disruption to deal with it, and Shoma showed us that Uzuri does, right? But I also, watching Shoma play, Shoma's like a very, very skilled player, and Tao too is a very, very skilled player who's been playing Assassin for a long time. I think I don't play with him, but I believe from what I've heard, right? And I still think it, like, Zen is just the easier deck to pilot. It's what people have been testing the most. It's what, like, most players are going to be most comfortable on right now. I think the Uzuri, to navigate much of your other matchups, is just the skill level. I feel like it's pretty high on that. Mm-hmm. And watching Shoma play, like, he's just a very, very skilled player. So I'm not sure how much it'll open up the CC meta. I feel like I feel like it's one of those where putting a lot of time into your hero makes for a lot of payoff. And I just don't know, like you said, before Rosetta comes out, I'm not sure if we'll see that change, because I think you have to put a lot of time into that deck to be able to put it. I also will say though, we've seen Azuri in CC tournaments put up results and numbers, like make multiple top 8s, take down battle hardens, and I don't know why Azuri is not more respected, or like people still don't really. She's not part of the conversation ever. So maybe that will change.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. And you bring up a interesting point about Ice, which we're gonna get Ice back. There's no doubt about it, right? No, I can't say that for sure. But even I think they mentioned it, right? Brian mentioned it in his last interview, and he's on the podcast next week, so maybe he'll mention it again next week. So, Ice is coming back. But even when I look at Zen, right? This deck is so powerful, and I don't think like 1 or 2 Frostbites stops those turns sometimes, because it's such a blue-centric deck. It needs a little bit a different kind of disruption, which we see in these assassin decks. So it's very cool to see, and I know there's a lot of negativity going into the weekend. I made a tweet about it as like, I think that I was not so negative on the meta as some other people were, and I think everybody's valid in their feelings and how they felt about it, especially if they're preparing for a Pro Tour. But I still thought, as a spectator, we got a lot of interesting games. Even the Zen mirrors, like now that it's not like the Bonds thing, like there's still crazy stuff that goes on in the Zen mirrors, but it can be this kind of chess match where you're like, maybe I gotta take this turn off because I think I can win if I just parlay that into a different turn, yada yada yada. I don't know if that was your experience with kind of what people had been saying lately as well.
Yeah, definitely. I was feeling the same way. I was just really happy that it wasn't won by Zen, quite honestly. I didn't want Zen to win it, just to be frank, because I was tired of hearing people complain about Zen. I was like, man, I hope a Zen doesn't win. But I never would have predicted a Azuri to win, as I don't know that many would have. Like you said, there still can be these chess matches, right? Like you can high roll on Zen, obviously, but you can high roll on any deck. Like I'm sure that to win, like people just talk about how it's all luck, and I think that if we're being honest, any TCG, like to win a Pro Tour, you have to do that with a certain amount of luck. Like it's not 100% you did it on skill. And that's not to say that anyone who's won one is not a skilled player. Obviously, that's not the case. These are extremely skilled players playing at a much higher level than I am. But like there's always a certain amount of luck that comes with it. That's just part of a TCG. But I think watching the games, I felt like it was a lot less like, oh, people are just getting high rolled. Like was the sentiment that I had seen going into it, that these decks just kind of like high roll and take off and run away. I didn't really see that on stream like I was expecting to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and to echo your sentiment there, like you talk to Mike Fang, you talk to Pablo Pintor, you talk to, anybody who's won a major tournament, they're always going to say like things had to go my way, right? Like,
right.
I need like gem variance is a real thing, right? Even Shoma, right? You run into a Kano, you're toast. You're absolutely toast on Azuri. So like, it's gotta go your way. So it was a very fun, as a spectator weekend to watch. But some of the most hype stuff did come in the keynote speech, which was really cool. First of all, we got a roadmap. I want to talk about the roadmap. I'm pretty excited about this because this is something that I think a lot of people in the game have wanted for a long time, as like fans of the game, as people who buy the product, as people who sell the product. This is pretty huge. So, it's anywhere on the internet, but we're looking at it in our show notes here.
Yeah.
And if you could just imagine what it looks like, it looks really cool. So we had the product roadmap.
Beautiful.
And it shows the next years from August to next July. The first big things here are the Azalea deck, which comes out tomorrow if you're listening to this the first day that this is out. And then also First Strike, which we talked about, is going to be a Gen Con and also comes out later in the month of August as well. And then notably, 4 more Armory decks within the next year. Now, that's pretty crazy. How have you found the Armory decks to be?
That's pretty crazy to me too. I when they first announced Armory decks, I wasn't sure like how many of those we'd be getting. If it was just kind of maybe we'd get 3, but to see that we've already, we have Azalea coming out, we already got KO, and then they're releasing 4 more within the next year, just makes me think we're gonna get a lot of these, which are really exciting. I haven't actually played with any of the Armory decks, I will say. However, the weekend the Armory decks came out on KO, I went to my Armories and I lost in the finals of my Armory to the KO Precon, right? The KO Armory deck. Someone bought it at the shop, cracked it open, played the Armory with it, and then took down the entire Armory with it. And I was like, well, okay, I should have looked at the list for this because there were some cards in there I was not playing around. I did not know what they did. And then it was like, but this, I was like, wow, I was really impressed that this is a good, strong deck. Like, yes, the guy who was playing it and piloting it is a really good, strong player, and he knows KO. But still, the fact that like these are Armory viable decks, you're ready to crack open and you can just go like win an event with it. I think that's really awesome and speaks quite to just like the quality of this product. So I'm really excited to get more of these. If they come out with a hero that I love and there's some new cards in there, I'll definitely be picking one up. But also as I try new heroes, like I think it's just a really like comforting and good place to start. Like we've had some new players come into the community since the KO Armory deck release, and it's so easy to just be like, hey, let's like, I know at one point someone, we thought we'd have a new player and we were all gonna like just pitch in and buy that player in an Armory deck if they came out. So that's like such an easy thing to do, and then it's a viable deck, and there's easy pathways to upgrade it if you want to upgrade it. So it's nice to have that option for new players. It's also nice to have that option for established players like me who like, if one day I decide I wanna play KO, I can just go pick up, and I already have like a perfectly good deck that I can make some easy upgrades to if need be. So I think this is a really good product, and I'm really excited to see more decks. And I might be picking some up depending on what heroes they make.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of them too. Especially printing like some cool stuff to make the players like us maybe want to buy it for that. And then, I mean, my only concern has been supply, which, I think should be a concern going forward, and hopefully that they ramp it up a little bit as well, because you want, it to be available for anybody to pick up as well. But you also, it's a weird balance. You don't want retailers being stuck with a ton of products, or your wholesalers be stuck with a ton of products. So it is a tough balance, and I understand that. But supply is probably going to be the hardest thing for them to balance. They did say one of the ones coming in the next couple of months is going to be a brand new hero, which is very cool. We don't know.
It's really exciting.
We don't know what the hero is, but this could be a really efficient way to maybe replace Dromai, replace Oldham, something like that, to like get people, in like back in, right? Like, for the people kind of, it's like, there's a lot of Dromai lovers out there that don't have a deck that they really connect with. This is a great way to do that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Introduce an ice hero when there's no ice disruption in the meta. You don't have an ice set coming out. Like Rosetta doesn't have any ice in it from what we've seen.
I'm looking at this roadmap. One of those Armory decks, the next one after Azalea, is coming out in October. If it was an ice hero right before Worlds, I mean, listen, I think that's kind of cool. We'll see if they do that.
We'll see.
But some other notable stuff here is that we know for sure we're getting set 15 and set 16 in January and May of next year. So it's just kind of like basically the release schedule of last year. And then the biggest thing here is the Mastery Pack Guardian. So Basically, that is going to be like a standalone set, all Guardian stuff, all class-specific stuff. That's what the Mastery Pack is going to do. It's going to be like mostly new cards, too. So I guess it's like probably a way to like supplement heroes without having to force out a new set with stuff for them. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me from this is, from what I would guess, right, is that they release Bright Lights and then they're doing this, right, instead of doing like another Bright Lights set where we have an all class set, because Bright Lights, I'm not gonna talk bad about Bright Lights, but it was my least favorite set. Like, as someone who doesn't play mech, it just didn't bring me a whole lot of enjoyment. And then Heavy Hitters immediately made up for everything that I was like, the itch that I had was feeling after Bright Lights came out. So I think this is like a really good a really good set, because I think that Bright Lights still introduced a lot of like cool stuff for the mech. You know, we have like it was good, and some people who played mech really, really loved it. And it was fun for someone who was not a mech player. Like, the first few times I played it, like at pre-releases and stuff, and a few armories after that when we drafted it, it was still fun to like crack open and try a new class that I don't really play much. But I just didn't like that it took up one of my set spots out of the year, right? Because I was like, you know, I want a set that kind of appeals for me and is more fun for me. But I think that this is a good way to kind of do that. Still show support from one class. Still get like offer these options to all your player base, but have these diehard Guardian heroes or diehard, you know, class heroes still just players get like really excited about this stuff, and still kind of like add more stuff to the card pool for everyone. Or I say everyone as in anyone can play a Guardian, right? But yeah. So I think this is like a good way to do Bright Lights without doing Bright Lights.
No, absolutely, and you know, I can only agree with you so much on Bright Lights. You know, it is what it is. There were some things to like about Bright Lights. I'm not going to say it was totally negative, but yeah, this is a really eloquent way. I mean, and also it's just hard. Like, the expansion slot's awesome, right? I think I think we can both agree that has been just, I think, one of the best things to come out of the game, you know, in terms of like printing stuff. But it's hard to throw a lot in there, right? There's only a certain amount of slots, and like, you know, you can look at Mastery Pack and you're like, oh, well, maybe we'll finally get Betsy's signature weapon or something like that. You know, so like it definitely gives people something to look forward to, and also to like kind of speculate on, which is cool as well, without kind of taking up that draft experience kind of set that Bright Lights did. So that was cool. And to be honest, the other huge thing from the keynote was, well, the reveal of all the hero text and the new mechanic for Rosetta. Which, first of all, prior to this, how excited were you for Rosetta?
If I'm being honest, ever since James White, like I think a while ago, said that, I think it was like a year ago, I think on my podcast, he had said we would get a set that's like arcane focused, right? Rosetta is obviously that set. And I'm not someone who plays Arcane, so I wasn't really, I was never excited for this set ever since I even knew it existed as Rosetta. I was kind of nervous for it, so depending on how the hero text was gonna go, I was a little like nervous that this set wouldn't have me excited. However, in true LSS fashion, I'm always proved wrong, and they do an amazing job, and I should always just trust them. And I do for the most part. But I was really surprised after seeing the hero text that I think Ocilio is the hero that I'm most excited to try out. I have a secret that I said I would take to the grave, but I have been playing a little bit of Kano and actually really enjoying it. And so I'm getting more and more hype for Rosetta the closer it gets. Like I'm really excited to try Ocilia. I'm just kind of surprised that I'm much more excited for the wizard heroes than I am the Runeblade heroes. That like once I saw them, that was just kind of more what I was drawn to. Which was shocking to me as someone who is a Briar player. But I'm also really excited to see this hopefully raise up the Runeblade class a little bit more. They haven't had much love in a while, been kind of down. We didn't see any Runeblades registered at Pro Tour. I think this is going to be a fun set, and I'm super intrigued by these these action instant cards that you can either play one or both. I'm really curious, and I'm also really curious to see how this like resolves on the stack. So
yeah, I think so. The mechanic's called meld. Basically,
Meld.
like these split cards, they're sideways. Check out fabry.net/Rosetta if you want to follow along here. For example, here we have a wizard action / earth instant, pulsing Aether Life. So it has one cost, but if you play both halves, you got to pay that cost twice. So Pulsing Aether says deal 4 arcane damage to any target. That's a wizard action. And then the Earth instant side, which is life, says gain 1 life. So this one costs 1, so technically it would cost 2 to do both. This one doesn't really give any context clues onto how it resolves because it doesn't really matter which way it resolves, but there's got to be one that gives us some kind of clue.
I would imagine it just kind of resolves at normal, like if you play the action and then the instant. But I guess you just can't play like both unless there's some weird thing that I'm just not getting.
So Burn Up, which is a Runeblade action lightning instant, costs 0, so each costs 0, which is pretty nice. The instant side says deal 1 arcane damage to any target, and then the action, the Runeblade action side, says the next time an attack you control hits a hero this turn, deal 4 arcane damage to them. This one doesn't really help us either. Okay, listen, we're gonna have to wait on the the rules text for all
Josh
this.
Scott, help us.
Yeah, where are you? So, but anyway, it does seem really cool, but noticeably, we had only seen the young hero version of Florian and Aurora. We got the adult version. The requirement for Florian's Banished Zone kind of Mordred is just doubled, I think, right? It was 4 for the young, 8 for the old.
Yeah.
Aurora stays the same, but we did get Verdance, which it has a similar thing. It cares about Earth cards in your Banished Zone. Except it says Verdance gets whenever you gain life during your turn, you may deal 1 arcane damage to any opposing target. We had a feeling that she was going to be doing life gain and arcane damage. Nothing surprising there. And you mentioned Acilio, who has a really cool ability and starts at 36 life. Once per turn instant, discard an instant, draw a card, which is pretty cool.
Which is, yeah, that just seems like a crazy. It seems like a crazy ability, like, to me, and I'm just really curious to see how the build is, like the rest of the set, and see how we're supposed to be building him. I'm really excited. I don't know. I think he'll be cool to try out. But you're going to Tampa, so clearly you're very hyped about Rosetta. So I want to know who do you have your eye on?
So Florian, 100%. Like, I don't know. Messing with graveyards and banished zones, like I was already in, and I'm gonna probably try to build him in such a non-Runeblade way it's not gonna make sense, and then I'll just give in. I'll play like the good version of it, whatever. I'll take it. But there's something about his vibe. I love autumn. I love autumnal stuff. It's kind of like, especially when I saw young hero art, it just kind of like doing this with the sword, and then
he's very he looks so cool and emo. Like if he existed in real life, I could not I could not sit at the same table with him. Like he's just kind of a level above in coolness. Like he's just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, he like looks cool. It's like one of those things like looks really cool, like, you know, on his Facebook profile. But you know, you meet him, and he's like, "Where are you?" And it's just like stuff like that. And then you're like, "All right, Florian, take it easy." No, Florian's really got me hyped. But I will say, before we even saw Ocelia's text, I made sure and actually looked, and I realized I didn't have any. I made sure I had to pick up Blinks, which is a lightning instant, and it kind of works out, right? You can discard this instant to draw a card, and then also you can just play it for free and gain an action point. I mean, so many cool things you can do with Ocilio. Excited to see what is going to go on here, but my favorite thing about this is the introduction of macros. So if anybody saw this, it is something kind of like the Heliomiter from, what was that? Was that
Uprising, yeah.
Yeah. So like something, a token equipment that you could just always have to like prevent damage, but this is something that you can always have to just start with it out in the arena, and basically does the same thing as Heliomiter. And I guess every set might just have a macro for the limited environment. It's only for limited, and I guess pre-constructed blitz formats, which is cool as well. So it's an interesting way to deal with all the arcane damage in a way. So we'll see how that is. That's just a really cool design choice. So excited to see that, but I don't know. We're gonna have a lot to talk about Rosetta's in the coming months. Super stoked, Elaine.
I'm super stoked. Like I really, when they said all arcane set, I was like, that set's not for me. And then they were like, all arcane set in Aria, and I was like, oh, okay, you got me.
Well, yeah, because like
you got me.
You know, the Earth cards are still going to be sending like big attacks and stuff like
yeah.
that. So it's not a true all arcane set, at least. So
right.
That's nice. Now, Elaine, we do have some listener questions. If you're willing to answer them, of course. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
These come from the Buds Discord, which anybody is free to join. It is in the show notes below. First question, coming in hot from Capolo, asks, in which region of Wraith would you live?
I think, okay, if we're talking about, like, if we're equating where I'm from to Wraith, I think Louisiana would be the Savage Lands. Probably. But I think I would be from Aria.
Yes. Yeah. I guess, I mean, you know, I mean, I guess Louisiana is like not tropical, but
subtropic,
swampy.
It's a swamp. It's a swampy. We've got weird creatures. Just no one knows. You know, big scary swamp. Like, yeah, these the mosquitoes are the size of your head. Like, you know, we've got alligators, nutria rats.
Yeah.
We just got all these, all this stuff roaming around in the swamp. I think it would be Savage Lands.
That's very fair, and you know, Aria is a good answer as well because it seems the safest, to be honest. It's just like, oh, you know, we got lightning and stuff. That's cool, and you're just like, all right, cool. We won't have to get killed, which is nice. Now, Dead Summer Art, aka Kale, asks, what's your dream cosplay that you'd like to create one day?
So I don't know if I'll ever get around to creating it because I just don't know how I would do it in a way that I would want to do it. But ever since I started playing Flesh and Blood, I've always wanted to do Adult Levia. I just don't think my skill level is at where I would want it to be to complete that cosplay. And I also think it would be something that, like, once I feel like I'm very skilled, my cosplay skills are honed, I'm not just like doing arts and crafts, throwing things together. Like, I would love to do that cosplay in a very, like, next level serious way. That would be it. Yeah.
That's I mean, I would love to do that one too, and I'm supposed to do that one. I have the stuff right over here. I was looking at it as you were saying that, and I am scared. Maybe Tampa. I don't know.
You're gonna get Adult Leviathan together by Tampa?
Listen, I'll do it in 3 hours. Who cares? No, no. If I do it, it's gonna be so good. I'm so
like
bad at these
Driptide.
things. Yeah, well, Driptide was. I liked Driptide.
Driptide was good. I liked Driptide too.
It was like a different spin. Maybe I'll be. I'll have to work on a nice pun for Levia, but we'll get there. William from the Table Pit asks, in your professional content creator / cosplayer / player opinion, how did everyone miss Azuri being the best deck in the format? Tier 0, no contest.
Okay. I don't know that I would say best deck, tier 0, no contest.
Sure.
However, like I said, I feel like people just constantly, it doesn't matter how many times Azuri will like win a random calling or top 8 calling, or just Azuri will put up a number, and I feel like Azuri never gets any more respect. So I'm not sure. We need to put some respect on Azuri's name. Like, if you're looking for a deck that's like, okay, we don't have ice, where are we gonna get some disruption?
Assassin.
Yeah, Assassin. It's right there. But everyone was just, knew how to feed out. Everyone was distracted. I really don't know.
I mean, listen, I can't comment on that one. I was not one of the people distracted by that moral disturbance. Next question comes from Az, who asks, will you be up for karaoke in Osaka now that you are confirmed to be going?
Yes. Have you ever karaoke'd with Az? I have
a
listener question for you.
Oh,
No.
No, I've only got to hang out with Az once, and it was in Hartford, Connecticut. Not necessarily the karaoke capital of the world, to be honest. Not necessarily the only thing it is the capital of is, I think, Connecticut. So,
yeah, I would say so too. I was in Hartford as well, and that's when Az and I karaoke'd. However,
oh, what, really?
Wait, no. However, we did not karaoke in Hartford. We karaoke'd in New York City the night before we both went up to Hartford. So we came, we karaoke'd, we partied in New York, and then we took the train to Hartford. And the partying in Hartford was just not the same that it was when we were here in New York that night. And we had a great time. And Az is the I will go karaoke with you again, Az, but this time I can't compete with your skill in karaoke. Az is like next level karaoke. I was so impressed. He was so good. But I'm 100% down to karaoke. We can't go to Japan and not karaoke.
I guess that's probably, I mean, is that's probably where it was I don't know if it was invented there, but it seems like a word that has Japanese origin. I'm not sure though. We'll have to Google that. We'll get that. The producer, who is just me, please check that out now, or comment below. Am I right there? I love when people comment that I'm right, but if I'm wrong, also comment. Gets the engagement up. Are you looking it up?
I'm trying to look it up. Was karaoke invented? Isn't it like? Yes, karaoke originated in Japan. That is according to the AI Google thing.
Okay, well that could be wrong, as we've learned.
And also Wikipedia, so the two most reliable sources of the internet.
I trust Wikipedia. Listen, that got me through. Back in my day, we didn't have Chat GPT. We had Wikipedia, and scroll down to the bottom and find your sources. The good old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I'm seeing conflicting. It was either Japan or the Philippines, it looks like, from other sources I'm seeing. So,
similar region, right?
Yeah.
Similar region. Far away from America. Far away
As
from
it wasn't
Hartford,
here. It wasn't here.
So, yes, that would be awesome. I'm looking forward to the vlogs of you guys karaokeing in Osaka. And, normally we say food for the end, but we have 2 food-related questions in a row right now.
Okay.
First, coming from Greg, a.k.a. Darth Prentice, says, Desert Island, you can eat only one variety of pickle for the rest of your life. What's it gonna be?
Ooh, spicy pickles.
Mm-hmm.
Spicy.
Yes. It's funny. This is for the listeners. Elaine and I aren't like chatting all the time, but when we do chat, we're just sending each other either martini dip recipes or pickle dip recipes, and we're like, it's always the same. We send it to each other. Oh my god, it looks so good.
I was like, that looks so good. If you make it, let me know.
Yes. Oh yeah. So we have similar palates.
It is just like martini, blue cheese, and pickle recipes, like back and forth. It's our text thread.
Yep. It's quite endearing, to be honest. And the last question comes from Gary, aka Mr. Viz. What's your favorite pizza place in New York?
Oh, okay. It's not anywhere good.
Okay.
I'll say that. Because, first of all, I have, I can't eat tomato. I've got, some tomato allergy. So pizza, for me, it's got to be not tomato sauce based. And I'm also allergic to red meat, beef and pork, and anything with 3 legs. So there's, the typical pepperoni pizza. I just can't eat it. However, there's still a lot of great pizza to be had in New York, aside from that. And I went to a place one time after a ProQuest that was really delicious that I have no clue what the name was. And that's probably the best pizza I've had in New York. However, my favorite pizza place is the old reliable pizza right next to my house. There's a pizza place. I don't know. You just walk in, they have cheeseburger pizza, hamburger pizza. That's basically the same thing what I just said, but cheeseburger pizza, hamburger pizza. Neither of which I could eat.
Yeah. You like our hamburger pizza? Well, you're going to love our cheeseburger pizza.
Yeah, right. No, but they have mac and cheese pizza, spaghetti pizza, chicken Alfredo pizza.
Holy smokes.
They've got Caesar salad pizza. They just have the pizzas are just not real pizzas. They're real pizzas though, because it's a pizza. It's a pizza, and the slices are 2 size the size of my head, and they're really cheap, and they are just not your typical pizza. So it's basically just another food in the form of a pizza.
The slice is the plate for you to eat the dish that they're serving on it.
Yeah.
I've had these.
You go get a slice and they put it in a normal pizza size to go boxes. Here's your slice,
I mean,
it's great, and it's right outside my apartment. So I don't want to say the name of it. Sorry. But when I'm walking back from
Domino's.
When I'm walking it's Domino's.
Domino's.
When I'm walking back from a bar at 2 a.m., and it's there and it's open and the light is shining, and I go in and they're like, do you want a cheeseburger on a pizza or a hamburger on a pizza? And I'm like, wow.
I'll take the Caesar salad pizza.
I'll take the Caesar salad pizza. Which ones do you have with chicken in them? But it's great. It's just all reliable. It's so gross it's delicious, but it's genuinely delicious, and I love it.
Listen,
perfect. It's perfect food after a night out.
I'm not above these kinds of pizzas. I've been around these pizzas all my life, and I've been known to have a slice of these pizzas. I will say Caesar salad pizza is something new to me. A couple years ago, Lady Fresh and I moved into an apartment, and we were like, oh, we got to find, and it was like peak COVID. So we couldn't go explore pizza places. And we're like, all right, what's the closest pizza place? We checked it out. And we're like, oh, what are you going to get? Maybe we should get a plane, just test it out, test the waters here. And I was like, oh, they got a Caesar salad pizza. That's weird. I've never seen that before. And I got it, and it was the best thing ever because I love Caesar salad. And I've been to a restaurant where, they'll grill the romaine lettuce for the Caesar salad. So it was almost kind of like that. And it was a white pie base, so it's no tomato sauce on there. It was pretty hype, not going to lie. So
I think they have a blue cheese pizza there as well.
Just
they have
blue cheese?
Well, it's like blue cheese, and I think it has chicken, and the sauce
Buffalo?
is like a blue cheese buffalo.
Oh
It's like
yeah.
a it's a buffalo chicken blue cheese pizza. Really good. Really good.
This
They just have everything. They have a chicken marsala pizza as well. That's
down
the
so down
marsala sauce, chicken, mushrooms, so good.
down the shore, the Jersey Shore. You're walking on the boardwalk. You go into a pizza place. Any given pizza place on the shore, they're gonna have that buffalo chicken blue cheese pizza where it's chicken pizza, right? And then it's like a spiral of blue cheese going around, and then a spiral of buffalo, and you're just like, well, like you're getting hypnotized by it. And
That
next thing you know, you're eating it. So there you go. Food. I love food, folks.
yeah, I'm like, once we hang up, should I just go downstairs across the street, get some pizza? It sounds so good.
Penne alla vodka pizza. Listen,
Yeah.
it could be so good. Now, Elaine, this has been a true joy, as it always is. You're the best. Thank you so much for giving us your time coming on, and I hope you have a really safe trip to Gen Con, and you tweet about how awesome First Strike decks are, and yeah, you're the best. Thank you. Please plug everything you need to plug.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I love coming on Fresh and Buds. I love talking with you. You make podcasting so fun, right? It just is like a conversation with friends, and I love that about you. You have that talent. But as far as my plugs, my name is Elaine Hamontree, and you can find me on Twitter under ehamontree, like ham on tree. It's really simple. I always say bacon on bush, pork on strawberry. I think everyone's heard it by now. And as we talked about a little bit, I am part of the Rainbow Pitch League that I run with Kiki and Melody, and then I also have the Pitch Perfect podcast, and all of that is in my bio on Twitter if you just go there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You can continue to find me on Twitter at freshbudspod. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the just liking and subscribing and all that fun stuff. That's a cool thing you can do on YouTube, I've heard. Discord, the Buds Discord is really, really cool. You should check it out. And also, I have another podcast with my cousin Matthew, where we talk about indie video games. It's called Fresh Juice. Check that out as well. And we already talked about food, and unfortunately, because we already talked about food, we don't have time for Charmer, but we'll get to him eventually. Thank you so much, everybody. Stay fresh.